Hello, I'm Jeff Fleming, Assistant City Manager for Development here in Kingsport, Tennessee, and I wanted to give you a quick update on balancing demographics. I know that doesn't sound like a very exciting topic, but that's something that we had discussed back at the Strategic Planning Retreat in 1999. Felt like at that time Kingsport was really top-heavy in senior citizens with advanced educational degrees, and that we weren't backfilling those slots as folks moved away, retired, left the community. We weren't backfilling those slots with comparable people, and long term that was going to cause a problem, we felt, in the ability to sustain the local economy. So we set a goal to balance demographics. Now, how do you balance demographics? Well, you can work to create jobs that are going to attract people to fill those jobs. You can train people from within to take those jobs, folks that are already here, or you can recruit people to move in from outside the area that may already be retired, but they have a higher educational attainment and they have a higher income than the median that exists here already. So we fought this battle, I guess, on all fronts and decided to work all those systems. That's really when we realized that we literally had all our eggs in one basket with industrial employers. Many would argue that we still do have that today, and we do. We have a high dependence on manufacturing, there's no question about that. But as manufacturing technology has improved, it takes fewer people to operate the manufacturing facilities, and so it's very important that we give people the skill set that they need to be able to get a job in those environments. There are about 10 economic sectors that are defined by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. In 1999, we had more than 50% of our employment was in two of those groups. It was in manufacturing and it was in trade, transportation, and utilities. So basically we made a product and then we shipped it somewhere, and those were the two largest employment sectors that we had. Today we have more than half of those sectors that have double-digit numbers. We went from more than 50% dependency, we were at 34% dependency on manufacturing, down to about 18% today. And now medical and healthcare, educational employment, professional, all of those types of jobs have improved as well. So we have 5 of the 10 segments now in double digits. So the way I look at it is similar to an investment portfolio. When you want all your eggs in one basket. If one sector doesn't do well, then your local economy is at great risk, or your portfolio is at great risk. When you look at our current employment profile, it is much more balanced, and so hopefully we will be able to weather changes in the economy. And I think we've actually done that. Now, folks a lot of times think that because I often point out positive trends and positive statistics about Kingsport, that I'm blind to the fact that we have challenges. And I'm not blind to that fact. I know that we have challenges, and we have to work on those challenges. Many of those external forces are beyond our control, so we have to do the best that we can with what we have to work with. So we created the Higher Education Initiative right after the summit in 1999. The Regional Center for Applied Technology opened in 2002, which was the very first attempt at having an academic village or having higher education opportunities in downtown Kingsport. We have seen educational attainment rise dramatically since that time. Now we have about 30% of our residents that live within 20 minutes of downtown Kingsport. And why do I say 20 minutes from downtown Kingsport? Because whether you live in the political boundaries of Kingsport or not, you are part of the Kingsport's local market. And so it's important that we bring up the whole area around us, because those folks live here, they work here, they shop here, and they come for doctor's visits here, and so we need to make sure that their livelihoods are improving as well. So we've seen 30% increase we've reached 30% educational attainment, but the governor's goal is 55%. Just in the last couple of days, Governor Haslam has announced that community college will now be free to all Tennesseans. Does that sound familiar? That's exactly what we did in 1999 here in Kingsport. Knoxville followed suit with a program called Knox Achieves. Governor Haslam, of course, being the mayor of Knoxville, took that program and took it statewide. So the goal is to bring up Tennessee by the bootstraps. Rather than be 47th in educational attainment in the country, we want to set an example for what we can do to improve lives here. When you improve your educational attainment, you're going to get a better job. When you get a better job, you have more income. So our income has gone up as well. Both our median and our average income has increased as well. It was in the mid-30s back in the 90s. It's now up into the 50s and 60s, depending on whether you're looking at average or median. So we have seen an increase there. If you're retired, you're not counted in that group because you don't have technically income. You have investments and assets. So we have seen quite a few retirees move here. It still statistically is our largest group that lives and is moving to Kingsport. Why would they move to Kingsport? Because it's an exceptionally low cost of living coupled with an exceptionally high quality of life. I know that we complain about little things that we don't have and wish we had, but when you look at your daily livelihood and you ask yourself the question, do we have good doctors? Do we have places where I can get my day-to-day needs met when it comes to retail? And you do. Now, do we have a Neiman Marcus? No. Do we have a Costco? No. But we have the basic needs. Your basic needs are met. Believe me, when I talk to other retirement communities throughout Tennessee, they would love to have the retail base that we have here. We tend to take that for granted. We have a vibrant downtown. We have amazing parks and recreation facilities. The aquatic center is unparalleled when it comes to access for seniors and as well as families to exercise and have access to wellness. And it's all at an incredibly affordable price. If these amenities were elsewhere, it's amazing how much we would be paying to have access to those. So people from outside the area recognize that, and they choose to move to a place that already has those types of amenities. We also created partnerships with the county and the city of Bristol, Networks. Networks is the countywide economic development effort. For years, we had tried to go it alone. And when you're a city and you're trying to do this, you have to have industrial parks, you have to have infrastructure, you have to have all of the pieces and parts in place to be able to respond to prospects that are given to you by the state. Now, typically the way an economic development prospect works, folks will ask us the question, let's take Beretta, for example, that just located in Gallatin. Okay, they located in Gallatin because Gallatin gave them free land, and they had the flat acreage already prepared and gave the land away for free. Volkswagen went to Chattanooga, similar situation. When a company is looking to relocate, particularly if it's a large prospect, they're going to look at states first, and they're going to determine what kind of business climate those states have. What's the tax advantage? What's the business climate for their particular sector? Obviously, gun control is a big issue nationwide. In Tennessee, we're much more gun friendly, so Beretta obviously looked in Tennessee. Once they start looking at Tennessee, the State Department of Economic and Community Development sends that opportunity out across the state and says, here are the minimum parameters. Can you meet them or not? And if you do, they share that with the company. And many times we don't even know who the company is. There's a code word typically given to a prospect as it looks at the state. So our local person that does that is Networks. Kingsport puts some money in, the county puts some money in, and Bristol puts some money in. We have partnership parks where all three of us have a stake in land that is being developed for industrial purposes. So there's a partnership park in the city limits of Bristol, there's one in the city limits of Kingsport, and there's one near the airport. The city of Kingsport has money invested in the city of Bristol, and vice versa. So we are trying to cooperate regionally. Long term, it may even be more advantageous to take it one more notch up and go partner with surrounding counties. But for now, we took a baby step and we started working with our sister city here in Sullivan County. Now, if you don't have the prospects that are coming down from the state as far as large, vast amounts of flat acreage, which we're challenged. The mountains are beautiful, but they're not flat. So the other way to develop yourselves is to have small business development. So we partnered with the chamber to create an organization called COSBY, which is the Kingsport Office of Small Business and Entrepreneurship. Andre Wilcox has done a phenomenal job with that effort. And if you ever get the chance, I suggest that you go to their annual dinner. This year it was held at Ridgefields Country Club, and it is a personal story about each small business that has won an award. They tell about what challenged them to make a difference in their life. Why did they wake up one day and decide to do what they're currently doing? And has it been successful? And what are the challenges? And those are, there may be hundreds of small businesses with 4 or 5, less than 10 employees. When you have one employer that's going to have hundreds of employees. So, you're much more insulated by having that risk spread out over a broader base. So that's what small business development brings to you. Now, can we do more? Absolutely. Should we be doing more? Absolutely. We need access to angel capital, angel investors to help people with great ideas get working capital to get started, because it's very hard to go to a bank and get a loan when you just have an idea that's unproven. So Andrea and the good folks at Cosby that are at the Chamber of Commerce here in Kingsport help people develop those ideas and seek funding so they can bring life to those business ideas that they have. So that was another way that we combated it. And then finally, we created the Move to Kingsport program. The Move to Kingsport program was just basically a way to bundle up all of the amazing amenities that we have here locally, illustrate them on a website, and then work with people who are considering relocating here, who may have contacted us by email, or they may have reached out to us by a website. They may have been searching on national search engines and found that our area ranks highly in an area in something that they're interested in, and so they try to find somebody to talk to. We get emails all the time from folks that are, I'm comparing this city and that city, you're in the final cut. It's like I was describing economic development prospects a minute ago. Does it sound familiar? Now people are starting to use web-based resources to make decisions on where they're going to live long term. So we have that program where we can respond to that, and we've seen more than 3,000 families move here in the past 7 years as a result. That's not a net gain. But the main thing is that we're not shrinking. We are, in fact, growing at a very nominal rate. Many of those are retirees, as I said, but many are young professionals who are seeking jobs. So we also realized that we needed to partner with human resources departments. The human resources departments from all of the major employers in the region, they have to sell the potential employee on the concept of living in this region. And they realized that they were focusing on the job and the pay. More and more people are making decisions based on more than just that. So we help them with the community aspect. We give bus tours. We take people to Bays Mountain. We've even had, if we had someone that was interested in theater, a student that was interested in theater, we've even had a surprise dinner ready for them on the stage at a local school. We go the extra mile to try to impress people that they would want to live here and take a job in Kingsport. We've also recently started, although this is not an outcome of the Economic Summit from 1999, it is a recent initiative, the Young Professionals Movement. There was an earlier iteration of that has now morphed into the current version, which is called PEAK. PEAK stands for Professionals Engaged in Advancing Kingsport. They've just launched their website. It's ypkingsport.com. I would encourage you to go check that out. And they've had their first 3 sort of teaser events, but their big opening event is coming up on February 28th. If you are a young professional, if you're wondering, are there other people out here like me? Maybe you've got a job at Eastman, maybe you've got a job at Wellmont, maybe you got a job at one of the suppliers in the area and you've moved here and you haven't met friends yet, you don't know anybody necessarily. Go to ypkingsport.com and you will find like-minded individuals who are looking to connect, network professionally, socially, and just get integrated into the community. So what we've seen is that we've made big strides. We have a long way to go, but it's very important to understand how very differently those numbers could have turned out in 1999 if we had not resolved to really work at trying to balance demographics in the community. That's your quick update, and I'm sorry if I bored you with too many statistics, but I hope you'll visit my website. It's kingsportblogger.com, where I share these kinds of statistics and numbers frequently. Again, I'm Jeff Fleming, and thank you for having me.